This tutorial is going to cover two different ways of importing images into Rhino for tracing. The first way is going to be really good if you want to just have one single image as a background for a file to serve as a constant reference. It will only appear in one viewport, and it's not really as versatile as the second method, which will allow you to import multiple images, so a couple of plans, a couple of sections, to then use those for tracing and then eventually constructing a 3D model. So the first method is more of a recap of a command that does exist within Rhino, and the second is one that you would be more likely to use for actually constructing a 3D model. So the first command is called the background bitmap. So we're going to go ahead up to our menu here. I'll show you a couple different ways of doing this. So the first one, go up to your bar up here, click background bitmap, and then place. It's going to pop up with a browser. We can go ahead and click one of our plans, click open. It's going to ask us for our first corner. We'll go ahead and grab that, and then we'll drag out arbitrarily out to the right side. And you can see that it's sort of tucked behind this grid here, which is a little bit annoying with background bitmaps. So we're still in this command, so we're going to go ahead and click enter or spacebar or escape to get out of that. Then we'll type grid and show grid equals yes. We'll just click till it equals no, then click enter to get out of that. So we'll go ahead and into our top view now. And we'll again, now we need to go back into the background bitmap to actually scale it. So if we click our distance here, we're going to see that from 0 here to 20 feet, we're only at 12 feet. That's just because we imported this at an arbitrary scale. So what we're going to do is we could go back in and go to view, background bitmap, and scale. But here what I'm going to do is type in background bitmap. Then we can click scale up here. It's going to ask us for an origin point, so that'll be our 0 point on our graphic scale. And then it's going to ask us for our scale factor or reference point. So we don't actually know a scale factor because we don't know the exact size of this image as it stands. So if we go to our first reference point out here, so that equals 20 feet. So then we'll go ahead and type 20 feet. And then to double check what we just did, we're going to go into distance again, and we're going to grab from our 0 point to our 20, and we see we're at 19.992. So this won't be an exact science. Obviously you're working off a pixelated image. Likely yours will be more pixelated than the ones that I have here even. So this won't be an exact science. You're going to try to get them as close as possible, and then you're going to have to do some tweaking throughout the 3D modeling process. If you don't have a graphic scale, what I would recommend is going in and trying to find a reference point somewhere in your file of something that you know an actual thickness of. So whether it be a wall or if it gives you a dimension of a space, you can work off dimensions as well, not just the graphic scale. So some of the shortcomings of the background bitmap is it's only showing up right now in our top view. So you can go into your other views and you can see that it's actually not there. So this is only going to be really useful for our top view and not to actually construct anything out of. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. So again, if we type background bitmap, whoops, it's going to ask us. So background bitmap and then remove. So that'll get rid of that. So the next method is going to be called the picture frame or just picture. So if we type picture, then we're going to go ahead and import plan 1 again. First corner of picture, again, we'll click down here and then we'll import it at an arbitrary dimension. And you can see now what this actually is this actually is a surface, and we can see it in all of our different viewports. So this is going to happen or have the same way of scaling and working with it as a normal surface would. So if we go in and click our surface here and then we type scale, where it's going to ask us for a base point. So we'll go ahead and click our base point. Then we'll click our first reference point, and then we'll type 20 feet. That will scale it to 20 feet. And then again, we'll go into distance and we'll make sure that we did that properly. So we'll go ahead and go from 0 to 20, make sure that we're roughly in the ballpark of 20 feet. So the nice thing here is that I can import as many of these as I want. So I can go ahead and here it again and type picture, and then I can go ahead and import plan number 2. And then I can do the same thing. If you happen to get drawings that are actually the same dimension, you can go ahead and just do a move here. And then you can scale these to each other. But if you don't get that lucky and they're not the same dimension, you can just go in here again and type scale, then go from 0 to 20 again, type 20 feet, and then you'll have this scaled. So then what we can do is we can go in and trace these, we can stack them up, and we can go ahead and start to construct our 3D model.